Hello, good morning, everyone. And for those who are watching us on a different time zone, good afternoon or good evening. It's particularly good evening to the person with the person that I'm gonna have the privilege to speak today. So my name is Marilyn. For those who are new in this platform or first time seeing me, I'm the founder and CEO of Customized Training Solutions Private Limited or CTS, and we are passionate about helping leaders and organizations who are continuous learners and action takers to transform and thrive in all aspects by co creating, contextualizing, and customizing programs with the help of our world class resources. We have served over 3,000 leaders from over 30 countries in different industries, including Petronas, Sony Mobile, ProLife UK, Ayala Group, Chevron, Tencent, Jollibee Foods Corporation, Legato Healthcare, and Shell, to name a few. And the reason why we are organizing this interview is for us to help leaders who would like to stay relevant and adapt in the next normal, those who find it stressful to lead and ensure performance of a hybrid team, and those who are afraid that they can keep their team or business. So to be able to stay relevant and continue to lead more effectively in any situation, join us in these interviews and other interventions, of course. And today it's my great pleasure to introduce Steve Eck. Steve lives by his own design and he's never settled a day in his life. Wow. After finding great success in business, he moved to find even more success in entrepreneurship. Now he's the coach. He is the coach. People come to from all over the world seeking to live their own success. He's been on TV, in magazine, and is one of WGN's people you should know. With his unique gift of foresight and fun yet fearless lifestyle, he handcrafted his program Life by Design, where he trains you to build both confidence and wealth. His life changing program takes the approach that you will have to become the person that can be successful. For Steve, success is a lifestyle. It's a mindset you bring to every part of your life, and he leads by example. He can coach people to be successful and wealthy while also enjoying all life has to offer because he's done it himself. He leads an exuberant lifestyle of total freedom while owning a business that runs itself flawlessly. Wow, I'm super excited. And so let's bring Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking, and I really appreciate that you take time to have this interview with me today live.
Oh, absolutely. And after that introduction, I want to meet me.
Exactly, right? I mean, like,
Right. I
who
want to meet
doesn't
me. I want
want
to hang out with me.
exactly, who wouldn't want to live a life by design? And of course, I thank Marikit for the introduction.
Hmm.
She's the reason why we're both here today. I,
Excellent.
and I really appreciate that. Hello, Marikit. Feel free to share your comments, questions. It's an invitation for everyone to join this conversation. It's not just about me asking Steve, but also like our audience joining us as well in this conversation. So I have a lot of questions for you, and so let's get started.
Okay, fire away. I am an open book. I am the guy that has no hidden agenda, no nothing. This is me. This is me every day. Like this is it. So
Wow.
bring it.
I'm super excited. So to start with, please share with us your leadership experiences. I mean, you've been in business, you've been an entrepreneur, and you've been working with like individuals as well. So please share with us your leadership experiences. If you have like influencers that you'd like to make mention, because that's easy for our audience to more or less understand or get reminded of the leaders that we follow or influencers that we follow. And of course, if you do have a favorite leadership style that you'd like to share, do please do so.
Oh, absolutely. Wow. You know what? I want to apologize for the lengthy answer I'm about to give. So
I'm
there's so
prepared for
many. Yes, I have people who have influenced my life and who I've molded my leadership around what I've learned from them.
that.
And
Mm-hmm.
what everyone sees in me today is, you didn't see the growth. Nobody saw the growth. Nobody saw all of that. They see
Mm-hmm.
the product, like they see who I am today, and they didn't see who I was or what it took to get here. And so that's
Exactly.
really where my influence comes,
Mm-hmm.
where I'd met a person who took me under their wing, and because one person can make a difference in your life,
True.
and how they taught me was it's okay to make a mistake. Like it's okay, you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Don't You didn't fail. You've never failed. You've learned. And so allow people to spread their wings. And so that was a big influence with me. And I was able to look at it at the time going, this person is allowing me to learn, allowing me to fail, and then not reprimanding me for failure or anything like that. So okay, that didn't work. Why do you think it didn't work? And so you start to process mistakes. You start to process failures, and that's really where you learn. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like you're a kid in school, you raise your hand, you get the answer wrong, everyone laughs at you. You're embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met a person that said, no, don't be. You know what? If you raise your hand and you make the mistake and they say, let me correct you, take it in. And so I'm like, wow, that's a whole different way of leadership. Imagine the people under me not worried about making a mistake. Like, oh, I did something wrong. Oh, he's going to kill me. Like, no, no. Let's reflect on the mistake you've made. Is it a mistake? It's a learning process. So
Mm-hmm.
can we learn from this? Nobody's ever learned from their success. Not a single person. The success is like the trophy. You did it. Here you go. Success.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from our collective failures. We've learned every time how to not do it, how to not do it, how to not do it until you did it. You're like, did it. And so I want my people under me to have that and not worry about the little things. I want growth. I want personal growth in people. I want to get the
Mm-hmm.
most out of them. You know, we put our focus in the wrong direction. If I
Mm-hmm.
can take a person and I can help them to recognize personal growth and to develop rather than, focus on the profit, like and be that small minded. I don't want the profit today. I want the wealth that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my leadership style. I'll work with them, and then I'll go, you're on your own. Do it. Either you do it or you don't. And if you don't, that's even better. Like if you make a mistake, that's even better.
Mm-hmm.
Like then I'm not worried if they got it right the first time. Like, was that luck? So
That's
that's my leadership style. And like I said, I'd met somebody who took me under their wing at an early age, and it took me a while to wrap my head around what he was trying
mhm,
to show me.
mhm,
And fortunately, he didn't give up on me.
mhm,
So here I am today.
mhm. I really love what you've shared today. And again, that's a really like a great reminder for most people how, how do we shift our focus, as you've mentioned, to the right direction, right? We have to focus more on how can we make people grow, you know? How can we actually leverage on those mistakes that are happening, right? um and at the same time, like, I really always hear this with some of the conversation I had with most corporate clients that I work with. It's really like about that feeling of like, um how can we build trust within the organization? How can we, like, allow people to give in their idea, to make mistakes, because a lot of times when there's no psychological safety, right, it's kind of difficult for people to really like do things without them being worried, like what you've mentioned, right?
Mhm.
Being worried in making mistakes, and like, we're not really, a lot of times most organizations are not really focusing around learning process, right?
Right. That's
So
dropped out. We have our focus, today we have so much of a focus on profit, on money. I'm not worried about that. I know it's coming. It's
mhm,
coming, like, don't worry about it. Get everyone
exactly.
to grow and do their best. Not worry about anything. Just grow.
I love that. And so, what is leadership for you? Having said that experience and that I would say mantra of yours on letting people grow.
Wow, what is leadership for me? Um, Leadership is spinning plates. You have a lot of things going. So as a leader, I do have to get the most out of the people underneath me. I need
Mhm,
to them to perform at 100%, not just perform at 100%, but want to perform at 100%. Well, that's great. That's wonderful. But then there's other things that I have to be concerned about as a leader. I do have to move my organization forward. I
mhm,
am also the ship captain. So yeah, I can get the mates on the boat to raise the sails. I can get them to move the oars. I can get them to do all that. But I also have to choose the direction we're going and the
mhm,
purpose of why we're going. So it's not just about the people underneath you as being a leader. It's
mhm,
about choosing the heading. Where are we going? Not just where, why? What are we doing this for? So you talk about I talk about profit a lot, and
mhm,
it's a weak driver.
mhm.
That's why I talk
True.
about it a lot. It's necessary. It's 100% necessary.
Mhm,
But when you look at profit, and I look at business and income and wealth, I look at it a much larger scale. I don't worry about the small amount in front of me. I'm more concerned about the big amount that's coming. So, where is this ship going? And I've been using boat analogies this whole answer.
mhm,
Where are we going? And as a leader, I'm bringing everyone with me. That's pretty important to me to bring them with. And why are we doing this? What impact are we going to have? Whose lives are we going to change? So I say this when I bring people with me. I had an interesting conversation with my daughter,
mhm,
wonderful, wonderful genius. And I said, because we talked about bringing people with, and I said, wealth is not pie. I did not take a bigger slice and somebody else got a smaller slice. It's not that way. In fact, how I became wealthy is I brought people with me. I made those around me the same. You want to be a millionaire? Help a million
mhm,
people. And so that's as a leader, I also have to not encourage or motivate or inspire or get the people underneath me to to do their best and to want to do their best. I also have to choose the direction that we're going,
mhm.
and the why, and our values and our goals, and all that has to be in place. So I hope I didn't go too far one direction. So I'm going to be honest with you. When sometimes I try to rein my thoughts in so that we could all think on the same level. Not that I think on a different level, but sometimes I find myself thinking, and people go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you talking about?" So I have to rein myself in sometimes. So if I'm going off to left field or right field, go, Steve, bring it back. And I promise I'll bring it back. I just get excited. I get excited talking about this.
Yes, I believe when you're passionate with something, right, you get really excited. I mean, that's the same for me. I talk a lot as well. But then I really appreciate how you've actually defined it. And it's real, right? Like as a leader, there's like a lot. of things that we are accountable for, right? Like
Mhm.
what you've said, it's really about spinning plates, right? And I really appreciate how you've actually highlighted first that, it's all about taking care of people, but
Mhm.
at the same time setting the direction and the purpose. Why are you doing things, right?
Oh,
what
absolutely.
why are you doing what you're doing right now? Because without that purpose, without that, incorporating alignment with the values, as you mentioned as well earlier, it's gonna be difficult for people to see like where you're going, what you're gonna do, and all those stuff, right?
Mhm.
So, and I really appreciate how you're highlighting that, despite that profitability of course is important, right, in any
Absolutely.
business, it's not the focus, or
Mhm.
it's not the main thing. I really love that because yesterday I've actually attended a program on iconic speaker, and that's the same message that, the speaker, Sherry, actually shared with us. If you're doing your business or your speaking career revolving around money, you're doing it the wrong way.
Mhm.
Right?
Money's a weak driver.
Exactly. And I mean, despite that, again, it's important. It's like a means or a byproduct, I would say, for that you've done as much value for others.
Mhm.
But at the same time, this should not be the main focus or driver, right? It's really like what you've said, really helping people to grow and develop to be their best version, as you define leadership. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I mentioned in my earlier introduction how like people or leaders have been like challenged during the pandemic. And so I'm curious to know, how would you define or describe the next normal, or is there anything such, or is there any such thing in your vocabulary considering
So
it life by.
okay. I'm gonna cut you off even before you end the question. Like, I'm that excited. First of all, it's 9 o'clock where I'm at in America, and I'm so excited, I'm probably not gonna sleep tonight. That's how excited I am about this. So, you can understand that normal really isn't a word in my vocabulary.
Mhm.
There's nothing normal in my vocabulary. And so I think about it and I go, "Well, if you say the next normal, that means that there was a past normal."
Mhm, mhm.
And then I go, "Okay, when was that? Like, when was it ever normal?" And so I look back and go, well, no, this was going on, and this is going on, and this is going on. And then I'm like, okay, okay, granted, all of that wasn't normal. Just say moving forward, it's normal. So think about normal as this.
Mhm,
Normal is walking down the street on the sidewalk. It's very vanilla. It's very normal.
mhm.
What is it? You just keep walking, you'll get somewhere. I'd rather jump off the cliff into a pool of water. Why would I want normal? I can have excitement, I can have thrill, I can have growth, I can have all that.
Mhm,
Normal. Normal sounds like I'm eating vanilla ice cream. Like, I don't want normal. I don't know when normal's coming because nobody grows in normal.
mhm,
No sailor ever got great with calm seas,
mhm,
right? That never helped anybody. Normal. And so I tell people, never expect it to be easy. Never. So you take any industry, I don't care what industry you're in. You take housing, big industry in America, and housing swings one way, and everyone goes, "Oh, you can't make money in this. It's a seller's market." And then the pendulum swings the other way, and they go, "You can't make money in this. It's a buyer's market." And I'm like, expect it to never be in the middle. It'll never be normal. Learn to operate in the uh, interesting times. We live in interesting times right now.
Yes.
And so I would never wish for normal. So when COVID hit and we went into lockdown, little story, I have my employees. I have a lot of people that work for me. So what I did is I gathered them and I said, "Hey, listen, guys, I don't know what's coming. I don't know what this is about, and I'm not going to pretend I do. But here's what I know for certain: everyone in this room will not miss a paycheck. Everyone in this room has my full support. If you get COVID and you stay home, that's fine. Financially, you'll be fine. And then past that, what you need, let us know. Let me know. I can make it happen. Everyone in this room is as safe as I can make them. I don't know what's coming, but I know that I can stop anything from harming you.
That's beautiful. And that's about leadership, right?
Mhm,
Really like, assuring, helping your people, right? Like
mhm,
it having them to cope up in this, as you said, interesting times, right? And I really appreciate you reminding us because, despite that a lot of people know that these difficulties or changes that are happening to us are kind of constant and yet we resist that a lot, right? And
yeah,
again, like you said, I really love that part. You said nobody grows in the normal, right?
nobody.
Yeah. So I really love how you've actually put that together. Thank you so much for that. And
Oh, sure, absolutely.
yeah, now that we have generally set from the first three questions, like from which perspective you're coming from,
Mhm,
I just wanted to establish or to find out from you, like from your experience doing business and working with other leaders, entrepreneurs as well, and your team.
mhm.
What would you say would be the top three problems that most leaders do normally face?
Okay, I'm glad you answered that, because right away, my mind jumps to it. There's three that jump out right away. And one is probably stays in line with everything we've been talking about so far, and
Mhm,
it's the people. Now, I know people are not robots. I am looking at every personality. I'm looking at every behavior. I'm a student of human behavior.
mhm,
I love understanding or trying to understand people in general. And that doesn't just um, mean to my people underneath me is in corporate or in
mhm.
business or anything. That's also my coaching clients. I have to understand their personality. You know,
Right.
how I get the most out of a person is I have to first understand who they are,
Mhm,
so that I can get them to see it. Not everyone sees the same thing.
mhm,
So I have to understand how they see it and then motivate them, inspire them, get them to believe. There's so much self-limiting belief out there. And so to get a person past their own self-limiting belief requires me to understand as a leader who they are.
mhm.
So that's the number one, and that's got to be the hardest. Number two, and I'm going to let you in a little insight here. Number two, never let them see you sweat. Like you don't get to show fear as a leader. You don't get to show weakness. You don't get to show any of that, right? You feel it, you want to, but you don't show it because the people that follow you, they want to follow a leader. You have to be a leader. Like when I called my guys together for the COVID, and I filled up the room with people in the COVID, I had no idea what's coming. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I don't get this. I would never say that. I had to show them how strong I was and that they can believe in me. So it's not just knowing them, it's just you're not allowed to have a flaw. No chip in the armor. Like you have to be solid. And that's hard. Like you really, and especially for me, I don't hide things very well. Like, like I mean, you could figure me out in about 3 minutes. So it's really hard, really hard. So you got people, you got um, not showing any wrinkle in the armor, not showing fear, not showing it all. Right? You
Mhm,
have to be a leader. And here's the third hardest thing for a leader, and this is where a lot of leaders fail. It's not about you leading; it's about you leaving. So imagine if, like, I have a corporation and I'm the CEO, and I hand it off to the next guy and it fails. then I didn't do my job. I didn't train them on the vision. It's not about me, it's about the corporation. It's about me. Are you ready to take the reins? I don't walk around and go, look at how great I am. I'm out. They failed. Shows you how great I am. Shows you how poorly you train them. So, as a leader, you have to be prepared to hand it off. And a lot of leaders fail at that. They look and they reflect on how they did. It's never about me, right? I don't need I don't need people cheering me on. I don't need a cheering section. I'm me. I've got a lot of self awareness. So it's not like, look how great I did. No. Okay, you're going to take over. I need you to prepare. I need you to see the vision, the focus, the direction we're going. And I share this. I share the direction with everyone that works for me. We all know what direction we're heading in. I don't keep anything secret. And I prepare. These are the in the path. There's going to be boulders, going to be rocks, and this is what you're going to run into. And let's talk about how you're going to get past them when it's your turn to get past them.
Mhm.
So the third thing is set yourself up to leave.
Mhm.
That's a
I,
hard.
yeah, I think a lot of organizations do really like struggle around that, because
Mhm.
even in entrepreneurship, right, it's kind of something that we are challenged with. How can we like pass this on, or trust someone? Can he or she do the same thing as I am doing? That 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 part of like, but again, that's how you've also like started that leadership is about developing people, empowering them, and preparing them, like to do. I remember that conversation as well I had in an HR talk that I did recently, and they asked that question about if leaders can actually also like get a rest or have that balance as well in life. And I said like, oh, that's an interesting question. I think it's an obvious answer that every one of us needs rest, right? Every one of us. But then of course it's really about starting with how are you actually training your team, right?
Mhm.
How are you developing them in order to empower them to do the things that you are doing or that they are supposed to do, so that you can take a rest as a leader?
You know what? I'm gonna just add a little bit that every single employee I have is better at their job than I am. Every single one of them.
Wow.
That is one of my proudest things, that I cannot do it as good as them. I've That's like right there.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, you're really good in talent acquisition in that case, and also developing your team. Because again, it's really like as a leader, it's really have to be like developing that team who will actually like do it right.
Mhm.
And it's good to be the most, or the stupid among all the people around you, right? When you're leading a business or having having like an organization, it's really not. And it goes back to like, it's interesting how you said the number two. Like, I mean, people and succession planning, I guess, that's if I were to call that preparing to leave.
Mhm.
You've mentioned is kind of, I would say, kind of more common sense or obvious for most of us in the organizations. But the second one, I'm actually kind of like, while you were saying around the never let them see you sweat, I
Yeah.
was like thinking about that, because I just recently wrote a blog around, or like an article around vulnerability, because in a program that I have produced recently, one of the like senior leader has mentioned around vulnerability, like how can you show vulnerability um without showing weak, right? And you said like you're not supposed to show your weakness or your fear to your team. And so it's interesting like how you've included this, but at the same time, What about vulnerability? So I'm just curious to know your take on how.
So vulnerability is growth. Like that's an important part of life. So if we go back to a couple questions,
Mhm.
I didn't say that I know what I'm doing. I said, don't let them see you sweat. So when I gathered my crew and I said, I don't know what's coming, like that's like, I don't know. I'm not
That's
sweating.
vulnerability, right?
Right. I don't know. But what I'm confident in is me. I don't know what's in front of me, but I know who I am. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of fear. I don't show that because I don't want them to feel it.
Hmm.
But I don't want to go off as saying, I'm the all knowing. I see it all. No, I don't. You know what? There's things that are going to come and hit me.
Hmm.
And I'm probably going to get, but, I'm going to go, okay, you know what? It hit me. Got it. Just keep going. You know what I mean? Like you have to, they need to see the support. They need to see, that strength. But that's not to say that I know.
Exactly. So that thin line between, like,
It's
showing that,
fine.
you know yourself, you know your strength, you know your weakness, and yet, showing up like, uh, strong and as
Mhm.
a leader to your team, right? That thin line.
I didn't get in front of them and say, "Guys, I don't know what's coming. Oh no!" They'd have all ran. The thing is, I didn't know what was coming, so I said, "I don't know." Like I didn't get my crystal ball. But what
Yeah,
I do know is what I'm capable of. So,
yeah,
and that's what you can never let that tarnish.
true, true.
They have to look to you for strength.
Hmm. I really appreciate you, like, showing us or sharing with us that thin line between what I'm saying, or and what you are sharing as well, right? So thank you so much for that.
Sure, sure.
And so, we, of course, we will not leave them with the problems. We would want to help them address those problems by answering this next question: what are the important leadership capabilities and skills that you must have in this next normal, or whatever you want to call it, since there's no such thing for you? So, I mean, in order for us to, continue to lead more effectively.
So, what capabilities, skills for the next normal? Again, I'm going to say there's no normal coming. Don't wait for it. Do not hold your breath. Normal's not coming. You know, and so honestly, what I think is that the greatest, we have to change is we have to be able to communicate.
Exactly.
We have to be transparent, and I think that that's important. That's not something we do as leaders. There's the C suites, and then there's everyone else. And I think if you really want to move it forward, you have to decrease that divide. You have to bring it together. So and it comes through communication.
Hmm.
Like I said earlier, I love understanding human behavior, and it really says communication when I talk with my people. And so let me just say this: the reason I got into coaching was I saw what I was able to do with my employees, with the people under me, and I thought, well, why do you have to work for me to do this for you?
Hmm.
That's how I got into coaching. Like I could do this for you too. You don't have to actually be in my employment. so so when I talk to people, and what really helps a lot with skills is I don't just hear the words they say. I listen to the position that they're speaking from, and what they're trying to communicate. And so I think the greatest skill is not to put yourself above anybody, is to actually put yourself with them and be able to communicate on their level. Younger
True.
people communicate different than older people. I'm 57 years old. I don't talk the same way as somebody that's 22. But the thing is,
I actually thought you were 22.
yeah, no, I'm not quite 22. I have genes older than that. So, no, I am not 22. I have genes that are 30. So I think that the greatest skill that you can develop as a leader, especially, is communicating.
Mhm.
Like I said, when I gathered my group, I communicated and I walked that fine line and I got all of them. And you know what the greatest thing was? Nobody got COVID.
Wow.
I said, let's take the precautions we need to take. Let's stay safe. So at no point did we ever close for one day, and at no point did anybody get COVID. And I'm like, I was pretty proud of that.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So that was a pretty big for me. You know what? And I said that to my crew. I'm like, I'm proud of you guys for doing what you needed to do to stay safe. You know, it wasn't about me, it was about them.
Exactly. And so, other than communicating with transparency, are there any other important leadership skills or capabilities that you would want to share with us?
Yes. So I mentioned a little bit earlier is, and it might fall under the transparency.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm a goal freak. I'm a freak about setting goals and achieving them, whether they're personal, whether they're business. Every part of my life has goals, right? I hit them, and so I get my guys, or my team, I should say, my crew, my employees, to set goals for themselves. And so the goal doesn't actually, all our goals don't have to align with one another, but they have to head in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. I think you have to, as a leader, you have to inspire the people under you to want more out of life.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you're going to get more out of life is to understand what more even looks like. What is more to some people?
Mm-hmm.
I love when the people underneath me share with me their goals. I okay, so if you ever saw me talk to the people underneath me and the way I talk, I'm like, share with me your goals. Like, who says that? But I have in-depth conversations with them, and it's a nobody laughs. It's a nice, open, safe environment, and we talk about moving forward. We talk about personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it comes out of communication, setting goals, being transparent, let everyone know the direction you're going in.
Mm-hmm. Wow, thank you for sharing that with us. And again, it's all about like clarity in terms of like where are we going, right?
Right.
When it comes to setting of goals. And I've been hearing that a lot around communications, and yet that's also like I believe one of the top challenges that most people, not only leaders, are actually facing. It's really like how can we communicate in the best way possible. Like it's interesting that six in a study that 6 out of 10 leadership skills is actually around communications that most leaders are like challenged with, right? So that's how important it is, like what you've mentioned, right? It's really like being able to have that conversation or communicate even things that are positive or negative within the organization, right? Again, it's all about transparency, as
Mhm.
what you've mentioned, and showing up for your team as well. And so my next question actually is generally an invite, I guess, on summarizing what we have been talking about in terms of what do you believe. We've been talking about development, learning,
Sure.
leadership, and all. So, what do you believe is the role of learning, leadership, and transformation in order for us to thrive?
Okay, that's a big question.
I know.
So here's what I could tell you with absolute certainty.
Mhm,
Anybody, let's strike that. Everybody can become whoever they want. That's transformation. That's leadership. You don't have to play the role you're in.
mhm,
Anybody can move to a level that they want in leadership, in life, in transformation,
mhm,
right? There's no limits to anybody. our limits are self-limiting beliefs, and that's really what I inspire. Like, this question just motivate me to answer it. I don't know if I'm aligning with the question and answering, or if I'm going off in a different direction, but that's a big deal. Is everybody can be design your life. That's how I live my life. Design
Mhm.
it. I'm going to share something with you. Um, there was a time in my life that I made $3.25 an hour working in a factory. Like, that's a hard life. And so on paper, I should still be working in a factory. Like, that was the direction I was going. And I decided that that wasn't the life I wanted. And I was fortunate when you asked the very first question, was there somebody in your life? I met that one person. It took one person to change me. So that's a big one for me is, am I that person that changes someone else? If one person changed me, then what if I could change 1,000? It's that one person. So, not to get too far away from the question, but the answer to me is every single person can become whoever they want to be, to a level that they want to be, designed with the life they want to live, and that we have no limits except for the self-imposed ones that we carry around with us.
Wow. That's really amazing. And we have to be reminded of that because like it's kind of common for us to doubt ourselves, to question if we are enough, or to question if we are worthy of all these successes. But again, like what you said, we are, right?
Mm.
Like everybody is entitled, or it has the right or deserve. It's our birthright to be abundant.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with a life of abundance. It's not greed. It's not anything. It's accepting. It's becoming that person.
Exactly. And we all can do that. And that's the beauty of it, right? So thank you for reminding us
Oh,
that,
sure.
we can actually design the life that we want, right? That's a great reminder for us. And, it's kind of difficult when you're in a situation where you can't even see that, hear that, feel that, or any of such.
You know what? So let me hit on this. You're right. It's real difficult because you can't read the label from inside the jar. When I coach, I get to read the label. I'm on the outside of the jar.
Exactly.
That's right. It's so hard. I could not have done it alone. I needed somebody, and everyone needs somebody. I have coaches today,
Yes.
right? I'm
And
supposed.
that's the importance of having like a coach or a
Absolutely.
consultant external, because it's kind of like I said, like what you said, it's difficult to read the label from inside, right?
Thanks. You like
Thank you.
that one, don't you?
Yeah. So I have like my last two questions are very interesting, and I would say very open questions as well.
Oh, excellent. I
So,
hope I can answer
but
them.
yeah, I mean, you've answered a lot of the questions beautifully. I really love it. Great reminders for everyone, and this will be very interesting as well.
Okay.
So, my next question is that if you have a magic wand that you can use, what will you do with it?
What would I do with a magic wand? Um, wow. You know what? If I had a magic wand and I could do anything, I would remove hate. I mean, that's the short answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'd remove hate in this world. Our lives are too short. Life is too precious. Uh, there's just no room for hate.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing that people have this assumption that you could hate somebody for no reason except whatever you decide. And my thing is, well, why can't you love them for that reason?
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice. Like, you can hate people that you don't even know. So why can't you love people you don't know? So if I had a magic wand, it would be hate.
Wow, thank you. I really hope that you have a magic wand, but I
Oh,
believe, like, through the work that you do, through this conversation, it's really about sharing love to everyone who's listening to us.
yes. Yeah. I mean, you could sum up this whole conversation really easy, couldn't you? It's about people. You know,
Exactly.
you just do right with people. Wealth shows up. Trust me, it shows up. Like, and then just there's no room for hate in this world. It's about
Thank you.
people.
Exactly, exactly. And the last question is,
Ooh,
if you were to ask yourself a question that you can best answer,
that,
what would it be? And because you can best answer that, why don't you answer that for us as well? But what's the question?
um, the question I'm going to refer to a little bit ago. The question would be, can I become the person? And the answer is yes. Like, can I become the person uh, that can I become the person who becomes very wealthy? Yes.
Mhm.
Can I become the person who could run a marathon? Yes. Can I become the person? Like, can I become that person? Yes. That's such a definitive answer. Yes. I don't waver in that. So the question is, can I become dot dot dot? And then the answer is yes. You can be anybody. Like, I am walking proof. I swear to God, if you gave me another hour and I shared all my struggles, you would go, how? I read my first book when I was 23 years old. Yeah. Holy cow. I was working in a factory and I struggled with literacy. So, you know what I mean? Like, you can become. So, it's about I really, really love working with people. And it's because, people have worked with me. Somebody's worked with me. I saw the value in it. I saw how it changed me. I went from I talked about working in the factory, not being able to read. I struggled with drugs at that time, and I'm like, this life is not working for me. So I need to get rid of that, and I need to grow. And I met the person who, man, he was such a great guy. He was not easy on me. Like, he was not. He was tough as nails, and he but he never gave up on me. And he's an older gentleman. His name is Steve Hages, and when eventually he passed away, and I went to the wake, and he had two sons. They're approximately my age, a year older, 2 years older. And his widow came up to me, and she's like, "He thought of you as a son because he saw so much of himself in you. That's why he never gave up on you." And I'm like, "Wow, one person changed me." So that's who I am today.
That's really beautiful. Thank you so much for, inspiring us and for reminding us of all these messages that you have shared. And it's really good to know that, we can become whoever we want if we decide.
Mhm.
It's up to us. We always have a choice, right? Not a lot of people, um despite they have the knowledge of that, but sometimes, it's really kind of difficult for them to like see that when they're in an unlikely situation. But again, it's really about a choice of, becoming who you have to be, who you want to be.
Always have choices.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation, Steve. It's very uplifting, it's very inspiring, people centered, as you mentioned, and that's how it is, right? And I hope those people who are listening with to this conversation will be inspired and, spread love rather than hate, as you've mentioned. So
Do it.
thank you so much for your time. I know it's late on your side of the world
Oh, I
already.
am so pumped right now. I'm not sleeping all night.
So I really appreciate your time, your insights, your inspiration, and sharing your story and your experience with us today. And if there's anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with.
I think I laid it all out there.
Thank you, thank you. So again, thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone who's watching us today. And again, let's all work together. Join us in this journey to create more opportunities for everyone. Um, to make this world a better place to live in, right? And remember that even the richest investor in the world would say that investing in yourself is the best investment that you can ever make in your life. By watching this as well is already an investment for yourself. So remember that if your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
And stay safe. Have a good day.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye for now.